Hey, it's Employee a Million, and today I saw the Super Mario Bros. Movie, only in its second day in theaters, and I just wanted to offer my own review, though it's more of a first impressions of anything, so my opinion may change as time goes on. I might think it's better, I might think it's worse, but I just wanted to talk about this movie because it's something that I've wanted to watch for basically my whole life. My earliest video game memory is the character select screen of Mario Kart 64, when my uncle had a Nintendo 64, and also just running around the castle and Koopa Mountain in Mario 64. It was just a magical world that I always thought could work really well in a movie format, and Nintendo have tried in certain fields. They tried a little anime movie in 1986, they tried the live-action Mario movie with Bob Hoskins in 1993. Neither of them were very successful, but here we are, it's 2023. Mario is a well-established figure in popular culture, so, let's see what they can do with a movie. Maybe it'll be good, who knows? It'll probably be better than the 1993 one, but yeah, who knows? I think both the best and worst news about the movie going into it is that Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, would be involved. Good because, well, he's the creator, he should be involved if he's still alive. But bad in the sense that it's been often speculated that Miyamoto doesn't like including stories in his games. And there is some truth to that and some sort of just wild speculation. The thing is, it's kind of unheard of for a Mario production to be entirely around a story, and well, a story is what a movie is, basically a visual story. Mario is mostly gameplay, and it's often good gameplay, but people wonder why every time they try with the story, it's only for a little bit. Like Mario Sunshine had those pretty poorly received cutscenes, but at least it was ambitious, and a developer snuck in a backstory for Rosalina in Mario Galaxy, and I guess that's a reason Miyamoto is a bit hesitant about this sort of thing, because, well, when a developer adds it in, it's kind of sneaky. The Mario RPGs were especially hit by this assumption that Miyamoto doesn't like stories, because in the 2000s they had great gameplay and great stories, but come the 3DS, they were a lot more watered down, and people speculate that it's because Miyamoto didn't want them to be super deep, serious adventures. He just wanted them to be fun games. And it's never had a hard confirmation or a hard denial. It's just something you have to expect, that Mario products aren't really going to take themselves too seriously, so I never thought that this movie would be anything super serious, just sort of an origin story for the Mario brothers and what their adventures were like when they were living before they found the Mushroom Kingdom and what they were like after the Mushroom Kingdom. This kind of confirmed that the Super Show is sort of canon in a way, that they were plumbers from Brooklyn, so Dobson was right about something. I know, I'm horrified too. And I really don't mind them making this an origin story for the Mario Bros. Like, what were they going to do? Have all of this previously established? Have this bizarre concept to critics and people who aren't into Mario games just thrust upon them with no tether to reality? I kind of like how they tied this into the early arcade games like Mario Brothers and even Wrecking Crew by just confirming that they were average Joes in that world before they went to the Mushroom Kingdom. It kind of puts the whole series into a different perspective and sort of undermines the canonicity of Donkey Kong, but maybe that could come later, maybe that could come earlier, I don't know. The story is pretty similar to something you would just think up in 3 seconds about Mario. It's about Mario trying to save someone from the evil clutches of Bowser. He's trying to marry Princess Peach. He goes on into many different lands and makes new friends along the way. And it's good at that. It's really good at that. I really did enjoy this story for as thin as it was, because it really wasn't trying to be anything too complicated, and there weren't too many plot holes. It was a pretty fun ride from start to finish, and most of the characters were pretty fun. There weren't really that many missed opportunities, and I just really had a fun time. That's all I could really ask for with a Mario thing. I don't care if there's no sad backstory. Well, There is kind of a backstory, but it's not that sad, and I guess we're getting into spoiler territory, but that's basically my opinion on the movie as a whole. It's like a 7 out of 10 movie. My opinion might change as time goes on, but I thought it was good. So now, if you don't want to hear anything about the movie or my thoughts on specific details and characters in the movie, this is your warning. You know what I think of the movie now? Here's what I think of the little things about the movie. This is the right way to do tiny little references. Because even though Mario obviously isn't a franchise in this world, they cram in a ton of great Nintendo references to properties that you would have never expected to see on the big screen in any capacity, like Duck Hunt, Punch-Out!, Kid Icarus, the Famicom Disk System mascot. There's all these weird little shout-outs that I really like, and they're not intrusive, they just add to the world of Brooklyn. And that's really fun, just sort of seeing this alternate reality where Nintendo is just a part of everyday life. I really liked it, it's pretty fun. And as for specific Super Mario references, I'll start with the soundtrack. It is absolutely glorious. I'm so thankful that they got the composer for the older games, Koji Kondo, involved in this, just to get his input, get his permission to use this music, because it is so impressive to hear it on a grand orchestral scale, instead of just as little bleeps or bloops or on a soundboard. Because, I mean, when it shows Peach's castle for the first time, it plays that first part of the Castle Walls theme from Mario 64, and it is so great to hear that in a big budget Hollywood movie. And let me tell you the hardest that I ever laughed at this movie. It was when they played the DK rap. Like, that just came out of nowhere. Obviously, they were introducing Donkey Kong, but I was expecting something like a rearrangement of the opening theme to Donkey Kong or something from the country games, but no, it's the big old meme, the DK rap, Grant Kirkhope's greatest contribution to society. Though funnily enough, they don't credit Rare or Grant Kirkhope in the credits, they just say DK rap from Donkey Kong 64. I'll find a way to blame Microsoft for this later. Could there have been more music from like the spin-offs, like the RPGs and Mario Party? Obviously, but I mean, we've got a sequel hook, so you know, there could be a second one. Maybe not, because the Mario series has a habit of doing something excellent or something that has a lot of ambition, then only doing it once or twice, then moving on to the next big innovation. It sucks, but it's always a series that likes to do experimentation and try something new, and this movie was definitely a new frontier, just making a movie that actually works. But yeah, I mean, I just got a little off track, but soundtrack's great. Really want to see it get like a physical release, because Nintendo is notoriously stingy on how their music should be heard. Like, they rarely sell the soundtracks, they rarely make them easy to listen to. Like, it's even a gamble to just rip them and upload them on YouTube, because they might take them down. Point is, I really want this soundtrack just on my phone, in my ears, just to enjoy. Even the little GameCube intro reference is nice. As for the characters, the biggest improved definitely has to be Princess Peach, because in the games, she hardly really does much. She's playable once in a while, but it is so rare to see her take on an active role, be like the leader of a mission, and this is what she is in this movie, the leader of the Toads, the leader of the Mushroom Kingdom. She actually gets to be a princess that does things, takes command, doesn't take guff from no one, and it was so relieving to see that characterization just be front and center for once, and for this to be like a way to see her, a way for new people to see her even. It's just so great. And I mean, Bowser is awesome too. I mean, Jack Black, I think he was the best cast. Anya Taylor-Joy and Charlie Day, obviously, in terms of like the celebrities. Keegan-Michael Key I can go either way with. Chris Pratt, I'll get to him in a bit. But Bowser, Jack Black, it really does seem like Jack Black loves this character and has been waiting to play him his whole life. So it was just really cool to hear someone passionate about a part of this world help in bringing it to life audibly. As for Kamek, he's the only character really played by a veteran voice actor, Kevin Michael Richardson, and it seemed like an odd choice at first, but Kevin Michael Richardson has a good range, and they got that out of him. For some reason, he's doing like a Peter Lorre impersonation as Kamek, but it works. I don't really mind it. I never really thought of Kamek's voice until this movie. Luigi, I think they could have done more with Luigi. He's fine in this movie. He is the dude in distress that Mario, Peach, and Toad have to save, and they give him a couple scenes, and they give him a good start and end point as Mario's brother, and I think Charlie Day puts in a good performance. He never would have been someone that I would have personally cast as Luigi, but I don't know, sometimes you strike gold with these sorts of stunt castings, and that's what you get with Charlie Day, just a very charming performance. And if Luigi's going to be sort of a minor main character, then that's all I could really ask for. As for Chris Pratt, the thing that I was most scared of, because Mario doesn't really have a very deep story arc in this movie, like, he learns a couple things, but it's not really a journey of self-growth or perseverance. He starts the movie sort of very overconfident and running into different schemes and situations, like starting a plumbing business or rushing to his first day on the job with the big old, 1-1 reference. And that doesn't really change, as Mario wasn't really given a substantial character arc. I don't really mind that because I don't really know how you could do something, compelling with Mario, like what they did with Rosalina a while back. I don't really know how you can really make Mario a character with serious flaws that need improvement, but I don't know. It's just, that's an issue that they ran into. But, Chris Pratt was alright in the role because he's who you get when you need a stock celebrity Hollywood everyman, and that's what he is in this movie. It's really all the other characters around Mario that have the personality and all the experience in this world, and yeah, I think I'm starting to realize why this movie took 5 years to develop. But my least favorite character of the main cast would actually have to be Cranky Kong, because I just didn't really care for the voice or his role as the king of the Kongs, or the confirmation that he is Donkey Kong's father, not his grandfather, which it's a petty thing. You probably wouldn't care about it if you're not a Donkey Kong fan, but I think of like a sort of generic cartoon old man voice and temperament, like back in my day we didn't use shape files, that sort of character, and he isn't that. It's sort of a new take, sort of the take that Shigeru Miyamoto's had in his mind the entire time, and I don't know. Differences differ, I guess. I think my least favorite character of the whole movie would have to be Four-Man Spike, who is probably Mario and Luigi's old boss, and he just antagonizes them at the start and is okay with them at the end. Mario's parents were a nice surprise. I really like that they got Charles Martinet to play Mario's dad. Everyone else, like the King Penguin, he was pretty cool. I really want to hug him rather than throw him off a cliff. Why couldn't we have gotten more of him? The creepy, depressed child Luma, he was kind of funny the first few times, but the more I see a Luma without Rosalina around, the more I'm just kind of left feeling empty. The Yoshis were teased just for like a few seconds. You see about half of their entire role in the movie in that trailer, and I think that was a pretty missed opportunity, but they were already stretching themselves pretty thin with all these wild characters, so I can kind of get why they turned a Yoshi egg into a sequel hook. And that just kind of disappointed me personally, because Yoshi's my favorite character in the series. But that's not important to the movie and its writing. I think that the writing in this movie is pretty fine. Like, there are a couple groan-worthy jokes. There is a burp Thankfully, no farts. I mean, it's not completely out of this franchise's wheelhouse with Wario and all, but I'm thankful that Illumination has kind of grown out of that. That's the thing, Illumination and getting the head of story to be the creator of Unikitty. I like Unikitty, but that was my indicator that this was going to just be completely off the wall nuts when it wasn't really. It was just sort of, kooky and weird, and the Mario series is always going to be kooky and weird. There's no complaints from me there. But you know me, I'm a sucker for the stupidest kind of fan service, and DK rap was pretty fun. The only way they can top that in the second Mario movie is if they play something from the Donkey Kong Country cartoon from the 90s. I don't know, maybe like I'm a Metalhead or the Leo Luster theme song. Make Leo Luster the antagonist of the second movie because Bowser's shrunk in a cage now. I think that's kind of a reference to Galaxy 2, my favorite of the series, but the Mario series has been around so long that, maybe an accidental reference like that could sneak in. That Mario and Donkey Kong get eaten by a big old eel, and it might be a reference to the Unagi eel from Mario 64. It might be a reference to a completely different eel from a completely different game, but it's mostly references to the original Super Mario Bros. Trilogy on NES, the occasional Mario 64 reference, the occasional Galaxy reference, the occasional allusion to another part of the franchise like the original Mario Bros. Cartoon, the Donkey Kong series, or Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. That was also another great moment, just hearing the original Rainbow Road theme orchestrated. It's just a few notes, but it really does suck you in when you watch it in the theater without spoilers. As for things I wish they did that could have been better, I think giving Mario an arc that gives him like a flaw at the start that he has to overcome, like, I don't know, maybe he wants to be more athletic. That's why in the scene where he's doing fine in Brooklyn, but then when he gets to the Mushroom Kingdom, he starts having trouble with platforms. I guarantee you, there will be some reviewers out there tomorrow who'll say, that's a plot hole. How come he isn't doing that well in the Mushroom Kingdom? Well, for one thing, it's a completely different world, culture shock. Maybe Luigi, like, him not being around is making him less confident. That's just my personal theory, but my main argument for why these scenes work to an extent is because, well, it's a new location for Mario. As for Peach's backstory, I mean, it's cute, but you need a reason for why the Toads suddenly find this weird human species and then suddenly, over the course of a couple years, just make it their ruler. I mean, I'm kind of blown away that they gave Peach a backstory at all. That's something that is kind of convincing, but I don't know if the Toad's part in that is super convincing. It doesn't really help that Toad doesn't add much to the story otherwise. He's just the comic relief. He helps out a little bit in the final battle, but he's just there to spout jokes. And I don't know, I think that it's good that they didn't make them minions, but I don't know, you could have done more in that department. And I think a stupid thing that I wanted in this movie was more memes. Like, maybe the DK rap is kind of a meme, but I'm talking about stuff that I really wish I could see the look on Shigeru Miyamoto's face when we see what the West has turned into complete and utter jokes. Like, what would Miyamoto's reaction to Granddad be? What would he think of the Hotel Mario cutscenes? What would he think of the Mario 64 AI conspiracy? That sort of stupid crap that we've come up with. I'm kind of glad that the Mario movie is a fun movie, something that I would really like to watch again. It definitely isn't the best movie out there. It's definitely not a deep movie, but it's just a fun one. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain if you haven't been a lifelong Mario fan, but that's partly a reason why critics haven't been so kind to it so far. Maybe they just don't get a lot of the references or find it to be lacking as a story. And I mean, it's a Mario movie. It kind of comes with that territory, but I had fun with it. What do you guys think? Goodbye for now. I just want to play my favorite game.